I had to drive the bus, you know, and my first football game, you know, I'm driving this bus. It's filled with 50, 40 players, and the captain sat right behind where I was driving the bus. And the captain is Ricky Cook. You probably remember him. And I didn't know Ricky Cook. I know he was one great linebacker, but I didn't know him because that was my first year. And I think Billy Height might have been, and Steve Garrett, they might have been captains of that team. They might have been a year behind, I'm not sure. But anyway, we're driving over to Carroll. The game was at Carroll. I don't know who we were playing. And we're driving over there, and all of a sudden, Ricky Cook just flips out. He's screaming and yelling. He's sitting right behind me. And it scared the bejesus out of me. I almost put the truck on the sidewalk. I mean the bus. It startled me, you know, and I just wasn't expecting it. So of course the team was laughing because they knew it was coming. Right. They knew, you know, Ricky did that before every game and worked himself up to a frenzy. But that was the first game, and then a couple weeks later we played McKinley Tech, and they had a guy named Curtis Thompson. You know, we won the game. It was like 35-30. And Curtis Thompson, he scored like 4 touchdowns and picked up 300 yards. And Morgan said, well, we did a good job containing Curtis today, but we found a way to win. But anyway, on the way out, to get out of McKinley Tech, you had to go down this kind of alleyway, and there was a big hill, and there was 100 little kids throwing rocks at the bus. This is my second game or third game out driving that school bus. And so anyway, I mean, I'm driving the bus and you had to keep moving, and we're getting pelted with rocks all the way down that alleyway. And and it was that was interesting. And we got through it. You know, you had to keep driving, but I told the kids, you know, get up, stand up, put your helmets on, and face each other, you know, so the windows would break and everything, but I had nowhere to hide, and I had no helmet, and I was driving that bus through that. It was like Vietnam or something, you know, and but anyway, we got through it. But other funny story was we're playing a night game somewhere. I don't remember who it was against, but we're driving up Rhode Island Avenue. I might have been W&L or O'Connell, one of the schools in Virginia, but we're driving up there, and Big Tom Forrest was big. He was 320 pounds.
Really?
And,
back then? Huh?
Yeah, and he had a huge afro, and he was the sweetest guy in the whole world. He really was. But Tom couldn't get in the bus. He sat in the doorstep of the bus. That's where he sat.
He was too big?
He was too big, yeah. And he always sat there, you know, and he was like, so I'm driving, he's right there, everybody else is behind me. And we pull up to this stoplight on Rhode Island Avenue, south here of Hyattsville, and of course there were kids on the side, and they saw DeMatha, and they just started yelling things, and really ugly, you know, and everything. And we're at a stoplight, and there's nowhere we could go, and they're really giving us a raft of crap, and you know, middle school kind of kids. And so Tom's sitting there, and he had his helmet off. His hair was all matted down and steaming, you know, from the game. And and so, I mean, he was pretty scary looking. So I opened that door, and Big Tom's like that out of it, and those kids took off. He scared the hell out of them. It was really funny. And I closed the door up, you know, and we went about our way. But that was some, you know, I mean, I have thousands of stories. I'll never forget, after practice one day, I was giving Billy Height a ride home. I'm not sure why. So we get in the car, and it might have been after basketball practice, and Billy pulls out his bag, takes a pack of cigarettes out, and starts smoking a cigarette. And I said, what what are you doing? You know, I'm a coach.
Right.
He totally ignored me. He just smoked a cigarette.
Wow.
Started talking about practice. Yeah, Morgan used to say in the beginning, like the first practice, he'd say, now look, you know, we can't have alcohol, and if you smoke cigarettes, you got to give it up during the season. He never painted himself in a corner, like if you do this, you're thrown off the team. He would never do that. So Billy Height, I guess, smoked cigarettes and kept smoking them. You know, he's one of the greatest athletes I've ever been around. Didn't bother him too much.
Yeah.
But that's a true story.
Was it he or Ray that coached at Virginia Tech? Didn't one of the Height brothers coach it?
Billy Height coached, Virginia Tech for Frank Beamer for a long time.
Yeah.
And before that, though, Billy went to North Carolina and a football scholarship, and he played for a very, very well-known coach. And he had a brother who was the head coach at Georgia. And this guy was the head coach of Virginia Tech and then went on to be the head coach of North Carolina. And Billy was with him the whole time.
Really?
And Billy was a great recruiter. And of course, he was tied into DeMatha, so he got one or two kids from DeMatha every year.
Oh, wow.
And Ray went to North Carolina, played basketball down there for Dean Smith. And they were, you know, that one group that had Steve Garrett and Aubrey Nash, and Bruce Mitchell, and Billy Height, and Ray Height. Well, Ray didn't play football; he just played basketball and baseball. But good athletes, boy. Steve Garrett might have been the best of all of them.
Really?
Oh yeah, he was a competitor.
You